This is the Vet Alumni Podcast with Tech and Prem.
It's the Vet Alumni Podcast. I'm Tech, he's Prem, and we've been going for a minute.
A couple weeks, some things happening in the world and in life.
Since we've been gone, the Birds have beaten the Browns, the Giants, and they blew out the Bengals for the first time ever in Cincinnati.
That's impressive. I mean, it was funny because since he was a team that they tied with twice in their history.
I know. Once, I think it was one McNabb.
One was McNabb, yeah. I remember watching the McNabb game. I was in Florida because it was shortly after the Phils won the World Series, and I was in the Tampa area.
Okay.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
But what a win. It just shows you that was a swing game in their season, because if you drop that game, you're 4-3, and the same doubts would still be around this team.
Absolutely.
Now
There's
you're 5-2,
question.
and you have a way to unlock 12 wins. Am I taking your thoughts?
Yes, I was just about to say. Let me just jump right to that. Now I'm going to preface it by saying I have to see this level of play continue.
Fair,
right?
You should smoke the Jaguars.
But I'm back up to 11 games with a 12-game ceiling.
Agreed.
Which means, once again, I consider them a contender, at least for the time being.
Well, same. And you know what? Washington, have they been impressive? Of course.
Yeah,
but they've come back down to earth a bit.
They got lucky.
They have.
On that wasn't...
No.
That was ridiculous.
They come back down to earth a bit. You know what? Those are going to be close games. Like most of the Birds games, really, the last couple years have been. Those are going to be close games, and Daniels is going to give them a run for their money. But this secondary, with the emergence of Cooper DeJean, he has the second highest quarterback against whatever the rating is for quality corners. He's like second in the NFL right now in his position.
I mean, it's really unbelievable. It's the defense is completely different.
It
with
is.
Cooper DeJean in it. That fourth down stop on Jamar Chase was incredible.
These guys are buying in. It's like you're 7 games in. It's a brand new system. And Fangio said, he's like, these guys are starting to understand what their role is, and they're buying in.
He has them rushing the passer more.
Yeah, I like it.
He's still off the receivers in the middle of the field there. He's still bend not break. A little too much for my taste. But they get off the field, that's what you need him to do.
Not early in that Bengals game. That was rough early.
No, the first possession of the first half, the first possession of the second half. The defense just let Burrow just have those long, methodical drives down the field to a touchdown.
It was horrible.
But that was it.
It was horrible.
That was it. The rest of the way, that was it.
Yeah, I tweeted something along the lines of, when you hold Watson to 16 and then the next week you hold Burrow to 17, it has nothing to do with the quarterback you're playing. It's the defense.
It's the defense.
It's the defense.
It's totally the defense. They seemed, however, to find this, I hate this word identity, but it seems like they did find their offensive identity. Saquon's been phenomenal.
He has.
And, look, I think the key to Jalen Hurts was exactly what they've done the last 3 weeks. They've asked him to do less, and they've taken a lot off of his shoulders, and rightfully so, because
you got stars all around you.
Since then, he's played turnover-free ball.
He has.
He sees the field more. He doesn't need that many passing
attempts.
And
that deep ball to Devontae was 2022 Jalen.
Yeah, passing 30, 40 times a game don't work.
No.
Not for Jalen.
You want to be 27 or under attempts.
He'll throw picks. He'll fumble the ball away. He won't see. What he'll do is he already still does, to be honest, but he'll force more throws. At least in this Bengals game, at the last 3 weeks, yes, but especially in this Bengals game, he's seeing the field better. That has been my biggest problem with Jalen Hurts from last year and even this year up until really this Bengals game, but I'll give him the last 3 weeks. But I feel like he's a good quarterback, but his strength is in his running. It's in his legs. Like his pocket awareness, his field vision. These are things that lack. His deep ball lacks.
It's been great lately, though.
Listen, and by the way, I've been calling for it, and when it happened, my tweet was, see, play action does work because they don't do it. It's philosophically not something that they do.
Well, it's like that weird option handoff.
I get it last year or the year before. When you have a good running back, but not like a dangerous weapon you got to keep your eyes on. You have that now at the running back spot. So every time Saquon engages Jalen in any way,
you have to respect it.
And what's that going to do? It's going to open up one of your two guys on the sides.
It has to.
It's always going to. And I heard Ray Didinger say it the other week, and I almost jumped out of my seat. Like, finally, somebody with a high football IQ is saying it because they have the perfect personnel to get away with play action. They don't philosophically do it. I don't think Sirianni likes it that much.
It's the number one team game. It's the number one team game in all of sports. And they are using the pieces correctly.
And it's perfect.
It's great. And you know what? The Jags coming in, third worst scoring defense in football. You're coming home. You have a chance to go to 6-2 and really start to assert your position in the hierarchy of the NFC, which is a weak, wide-open conference. You have the Lions, the Birds, and kind of like everyone else at this point. And I know that San Francisco is a dark horse. They're going to get it together, and they're going to be a force in December for
Later
sure.
on, yeah.
They will be. They're not going to go away, and the Packers too. So that's really the four
Packers
teams.
look good. Right now it comes down to, I think it's the Lions, Packers, and then we're talking about the Birds. And like I said, the level of play has to continue.
It does.
In order
But
for
the
me
defense
to
is only
going to
get better, though. That's what you have to realize. You have to kind of project where it's going to be, because where it was a month ago defensively, we were saying 9-8. But
right.
Now you're looking like an 11-12 win team again with the way the defense is improving, but this improvement hasn't plateaued yet. This defense is continuing to mature. And that's scary for the NFL.
And part of this game here, this Jags game, Dougie P coming in.
I love that. He'll get a great ovation, well deserved.
Yeah, but part of the thing that concerns me is, which Eagles team are we going to see? Are we going to see the one that flat out dominates, or are we going to see the one that plays down to their opponent?
Well, no, you know what? The Jags have lost just some tough games this year. They've gotten blown out, but they pass for more yards a game than the Birds do. They still run for league average. They have a better time of possession than the Birds do.
Right now, most decent quarterbacks are throwing for more yards.
Yeah,
than,
sure.
Than
We're a more balanced team, which is actually more dangerous.
Yeah,
we're a more balanced offense, which is harder to prepare for. But they are 21st in scoring and 29th in scoring defense. So, when you look at this, Jalen and those guys coming home should be able to do exactly what they did, but a little bit better to the Bengals, to the Jags.
Well, you would think.
It's really what we should see.
This is a 33.
No, this is a 33-16 win. There's
That's
no way
funny.
to lose the game.
I got 27-13 or 31-16.
I like it. 33-16.
That's what I got. And normally I don't give scores, but it just feels like that. This feels like a game where if the Jags are going to score, they're going to score once and then field goal it out.
And I'm going to call it now. Finally, Quinyon Mitchell will pull down his first INT off of turnover-happy Trevor Lawrence.
I actually think it's the one thing holding him back a little bit. And it's no knock because...
No, he's been above expectations.
Yeah, I don't know who it was. I heard one of these pundits... I don't know if it was on the radio or whatever. I heard somebody say that, Cooper DeJean, he's making you forget about Quinyon Mitchell. I don't know about that. Quinyon Mitchell's been locked down to the point where they don't even really throw on his side too much.
They work in They work in tandem.
Yeah, so
they work in tandem.
He's been really exceptional, and Cooper DeJean is a different kind of corner. He's just everywhere.
He has instincts.
Yeah, because they're not using like the typical corner. I mean, he's just kind of everywhere.
He's a Joker type of dude.
And for the first time since the Super Bowl year, and I mean when they won the Super Bowl since 2018, I mean I'm looking at not just above average, but really good linebacking.
Yeah,
really good.
They're playing good.
Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond are really good.
Nakobe Dean seems to be in the right position a lot lately.
I think he's gained the trust.
He's getting it
of Fangio,
and that confidence is contagious.
It is.
So when Fangio expresses the confidence in Dean,
Like
that's
he
going to
did Bond.
multiply. Right.
Bond plays with like a guy with his hair on fire, even though he doesn't have any hair, but with his head on fire.
Well, because he's underrated and he knows it.
Yeah,
and that drives
and he's
you.
got the trust of
He
the
does.
D coordinator, who's like puts him in these great positions. Every time I see a big tackle getting made, it's Bond on the side. I'm like,
And Nolan
oh,
Smith has
it's
turned
Bond.
it on too. Nolan Smith has been impressive as well.
Yeah, I mean, even Huff got in on the action. Huff hasn't been good, but he's been
below
better.
what we expected, but he's been better at least.
He's been better. So at least these guys.
And that's a product of everybody around him being better.
Yeah,
Which is really why he was good in the Jets, because that defense as a whole was really good.
Yes.
So it made Huff look like a superstar, and he got paid like it.
Now I'm seeing teams already make deals, make trades.
It's coming up. That deadline. When's the deadline? Soon.
Soon. And I'm looking at the Eagles, and I'm going, they need a pass rusher.
They do.
I would go
Just
after
throw
a pass
one in the
rusher.
rotation, man.
And everybody's talking about Max Crosby or Myles Garrett, but what about Jadeveon Clowney? What about that guy? He's on a lost Panthers team, and he's having a really good year.
I don't know, man.
He's having a good year. And I hear
Feels like the kind of trade where he comes over and all of a sudden he disappears.
I don't know. He's a force, and he's even good
He was
in Carolina.
a physical freak as a top overall pick.
He had a great year last year, and he's having a decent year with Carolina this year. He's a guy.
Isn't Clowney the one basically responsible for the start of the Hurts era? Didn't he knock out Wentz in that playoff game?
He did, yes.
That'd be ironic.
That would be ironic.
Because you really, when you look at that, to me, that injury by Clowney that he forced on Wentz in that playoff game, that was the de facto beginning of the Hurts era.
Yeah.
Really?
It was.
Because they went into that offseason. They went in that offseason where.
Seattle, right?
Yeah.
In Seattle.
If Wentz wins that playoff game,
yeah.
then there's a chance that Hurts' debut isn't for another full season after. They might have stuck with Carson.
That's true.
It's crazy how these little things, and you reminded me that Clowney made that hit.
I think it's next week, right? Week 9?
You're probably right,
Trade
yeah.
deadline?
Usually I feel like it's in late October, but maybe it's, no, it is November typically, early November.
Yeah, I think it's week 9.
Thank God, you can get the trade deadline out the way in this freaking election and be done with all this crap.
We need to be done with it all.
It's ridiculous. The text messages are out of control.
As we're in here now,
Tired of it.
I'm getting texts.
Regardless of what side you fall on, I don't care. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. It is.
Knocking on the door, the calls. Leave me alone.
Let me tell you something. If you give $1 to these people at any point in your lifetime, you are on their list forever.
Man, some of these replies I email back. If I should send them over, you can check them out. They're good.
Because this is, and by the way, they're bots.
It's horrible.
I don't even think it's physical people.
It's horrible.
These are bots.
It's horrible. But it's both sides do it. It's terrible.
Yeah, and between that and look, this deadline can't come soon enough. They need to get a pass rusher, and because I look ahead, right? I see this Dallas game could be a letdown, not because Dallas is a superior team.
Just
they are
because
not.
it's Dallas, and Dak just plays
Yes.
his mind off against us,
he
man.
plays like Joe Montana
Against us, he plays like he's the best quarterback ever.
He's Steve
All
Young.
the Dallas fans, all the cockroaches come out of their little hiding spots.
Yeah.
All the Philly Dallas fans have their hats on. They talk crap for a week. They call in a WIP.
It's something.
And then they're back to being horrible Dallas again.
I don't.
They'll split with Dallas
Yeah.
every year. They split with them
Every year.
They'll split.
This is in Dallas. I expect this to be a letdown.
Maybe not.
Game.
Maybe not. You know why I say
Maybe
not?
they'll turn the corner.
You remember that Monday nighter when Donovan went down there with T.O. and Freddie Mitchell? He ran around, made that big bomb at Freddie, and we blew him out.
Yeah.
Jalen is due for a game like that. He against a division foe.
Yeah.
He's done. We know what they do against New York, the Giants. They showed up. They embarrassed the Giants.
Their own players, Dallas's own players, especially on offense, don't believe in Dak.
They're checking out.
They're
mentally.
checking out mentally.
And you know
on
what?
Dak.
They're I don't know, Tech. I think they're ripe for
Me too.
a Birds sweep this
It's
year.
gonna
It could be one of those years.
I've been saying
Could be.
that I expect to go into a split mode with Washington now. That's where I see the
Daniels
split.
is legitimate.
But I don't know that we continue to split with Dallas if Dallas is this bad.
No, they're not special
And
at all.
if Dak is going to continue to play out of his mind against us, then I don't know if we can turn that corner and sweep them and beat them in Dallas and then come home and beat them at home later on.
Cowboys are in Atlanta this week. Atlanta's 3-point favorite. I don't know.
I
that
don't
the
really know
Cowboys
why that
I don't know
is.
that the Cowboys defense.
I think the Cowboys win by 2 possessions.
Really? You do? I'm kind of surprised to hear you say that.
I think this game might be like a 27,
based on what, though?
17
The Cowboys'
game.
defense is next to last in the NFL in scoring.
I get it. I don't know why.
They're
I don't know why I
horrible.
feel that way.
How did that defense
Maybe
get so
it's
bad?
because I just don't believe in the Falcons ever.
The
Even though
Cowboys
we
are
lost to
running.
them.
The Cowboys are last in the league in rushing, 74 yards per game.
Yeah.
That's why they are third in the league in passing, because they can't run the ball. And their scoring defense, they're down all the time. So of course you're third in passing. You throw.
Yeah.
It's hero ball.
I know, but I don't love our defense against
That is
hero
the type
ball.
of game that Dallas wins. However, I will say that.
I think they do, especially
But Atlanta-
because they
Atlanta's-
just lost. Dallas doesn't lose 2 in a row like that in this time
They've
of year.
lost 2 in a row just now, well, to 2 very good teams.
Yeah, I get it.
And they did beat Pittsburgh.
But are they going to? Are they going to lose this game? No, I just can't see it. I can't.
They
see
only
it.
lost to Baltimore by 3.
Well, Baltimore is a team this year that's playing down to their competition. Whoever they're playing down to their opponent.
Yeah,
They're not blowing
how about,
anybody out.
How about the Browns and the Ravens?
That is.
So that was what that was the
Unbelievable.
old Browns going to play the new Browns and getting upset.
Yeah, how do you like that? Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That was the Browns,
It's
the
true.
Ravens. I love that. See, those are the kind of games where that happens. The upsets happen in games like that, where the
I love it.
team was stolen from Cleveland.
In the middle of the night.
Now the purple version of the old orange version comes back to town and gets upset.
That I didn't see that one coming.
No,
I
nobody
did not
That
see
was
that
a
one
parlay buster. Bro.
I know it was. For a lot of people were pissed at that game.
Oh man, I haven't been
That was
betting
not
this
a
year. Though. I've been stepping away from actually betting with money, but my picks, I'm looking good in picks. We'll get to that later.
Yep, we will get to the picks. Listen, Dallas could be a letdown. I'm hoping for a win, but the biggest game is going to be Thursday night football at the Linc.
For
first
sure.
place Commodores.
That's one that I may go to.
They have earned the respect for me to call them the Commanders now. By the way, they are the Washington Commanders. I've called them the Commodores, but they're no
always
longer
the Redskins to me, bro.
They're no longer a bad team. They are a first place.
Did you know that the family that original Redskins logo was based on is suing because that was a dedication to a specific chief in their family?
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was not like anything like politically incorrect or
I
racist.
felt like it was a reach when they wanted to change the name of that.
Yeah, so the
just
family-
like the Cleveland Indians. It's like, all right, I get it. The name is the Indians. Maybe it's a
Right.
little too.
Well, that's different. But this was that
I
that
hate the
logo.
Guardians.
No, that logo was a picture of a specific
chief
who was honored by that. The family was honored every year on the field, and they appreciated that to be
And now
honored.
that's over.
And now it's over, and they're suing the team.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy, man?
That is
just
crazy.
shows you how some of this stuff is upside down. But anyway, I agree with you. That's a key game, and that game.
That is the key
if
game.
they come out, say they beat the Jags, and then who do they play after that? They play-
Dallas.
okay, say they lose to Dallas, but then they come and beat
two
Washington.
4 o'clock games. I expect the Dallas game to be the game of the week.
Look,
you know?
just go 2-1 in your next 3 tech, and you're 7-3,
Yeah.
and you're in great position.
Yeah, but what if Washington is 8-2?
But you're right there. You still got one left with them. You're right there. This club could win the division. Washington's schedule is a cakewalk. I don't know if you've looked at it.
Washington's?
Their schedule's a cakewalk.
It's unbelievable.
It's ridiculous.
I did look at it.
Tennessee,
Yeah,
Carolina.
it's one win after another.
It's crazy.
one
Well,
win
that's
after
because they have a
another.
last place schedule.
Yeah.
This is how the parity of the league works.
Yeah, I know.
So the division is you almost have to win 12 to win the division.
The one
including,
time I'm
including
sitting here
a sweep
rooting
of
for the
Washington.
Bears. And
I know.
the one time.
Only because of Swift, though, our guy
It's like
Swift.
unbelievable.
I love that he's thriving out there. Though. Swift
Yeah,
is
I like-
having
listen,
a
I
great
like-
season.
I every year, right? I'm a Lions guy in that division, but every year, it's like over the past 5 or 6 years, I've had my dark horse be the Bears because it's like I actually want to see them come up, and they have a perfect opportunity. They're winning against the first place Commanders, and then a Hail Mary. A miracle.
Isn't that ridiculous?
It is ridiculous. That's
Didn't Aaron Rodgers have one of those before halftime last week too?
Did he?
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is so cooked. The
They're
Jets,
done.
Why do the Jets get
done.
so many primetime games? They are a horrendous team.
It's because you have a 3-time MVP.
He stinks. He's
I know.
cooked.
I know. And he only won one
And they
chip.
gave him absolute power.
He won as many rings as Nick Foles.
That's
All right,
true.
let's just be honest here.
Well, that is true.
I don't know how else to put it. And as we talk, we release you're listening to this on a Friday morning. We're talking on a Thursday night. Texans, Jets just start. Texans are going to smoke the Jets.
I expect them to. But the Texans are another team that's not blowing anybody out. And games that I thought that they should win, they lost.
No, you're right. But that's that sophomore thing. There's a book on Stroud now.
Yeah.
And Diggs is out for a while.
And by the way, next year, Daniels is going to encounter the same
It always
thing.
happens. It happened to Carson. It happens to guys, man. It's
happened
just
to Hurts. Hurts
Cam Newton, the big and RG3 are the two biggest descriptions of that.
Yeah. But I know Hurts kind of came in weird and there wasn't a full book, but like his first real full season, I felt like was 22.
It was.
Where
It was.
he had the right coordinators. You were getting a fresh
Well, no,
look
he
at
went
Hurts.
9-7 in
Yes,
his first season
yeah.
and lost in Tampa.
I don't feel like it was.
You got to count that.
All right. You
saying it because it was it was Sirianni
yeah, his breakout year was that second
and 3 different
Sirianni
coordinators
year.
each year. 3 different coordinators
Yeah.
every year of his career. College.
Hurts is a weird case. It's
He
different
is. He
because he was just okay, and then he was phenomenal, and then he started out like it looked like he was going to be phenomenal again, and then he collapsed,
And then he's already second in franchise history in rushing TDs.
yeah, because
Including running backs.
his legs. There's something about you see those calves. I mean, the guy.
Yeah.
It's I look at that the tush push, and it's still him.
I got news for you. Hurts being 26 years old now, 25 years old.
Yeah.
You got 6-7 more seasons of him maturing as a quarterback here, and I'm excited to see it because he might retire as the all-time passing leader in this franchise. He may, because A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
That's the thing. When
are
A.J.
better
Brown
than
is on the
anybody we've ever
field,
had.
when A.J. Brown's on the field with Jalen is a different quarterback.
Well, yeah, but look at Montana when he had Jerry Rice. Look
That's
at
true.
Elway when he had Sharp, Shannon Sharp. Look at Brett Favre with Sterling Sharp. This is the NFL.
I know.
The greatest quarterbacks, Dan Marino, Mark Duper, untouchable.
I
in
know, but a
84.
guy like Brady made receivers, where Hurts isn't like that.
Well, that's a
kinda
different
guy.
type of system. He
It's
made receivers with 7-yard slants.
well, that's true. Yeah.
Until
you're
he
right
had
about
who?
that. You're right.
Until he had who?
Well, until he had
Randy Moss.
and then he was doing deep balls.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I get it.
This is the game, man. It's a team game. It's the best team sport in the history of humanity,
Yeah. Listen. I agree.
outside of baseball.
Outside of baseball. Jesus Christ. All right. We got to get to Prem's picks. But first, brought to you by the Fairless Hills Academy of Music, it's time for VetPhact.
This is a VetPhact.
Well, Tech, we just completed the scariest holiday of the year, Halloween.
Yeah, an overrated holiday. But
I'll be honest. Me and wifey, we don't celebrate it. The lights off. We don't need to be answering the door for people. It's too weird of a world.
Yeah.
It was great in the '90s for us, though.
Oh, forget about it.
Those-
80s and 90s, the best.
Those days are done.
Those were days where you earned your candy.
Oh yeah, we used to steal bags from people, all that crap. Anyway, point is, me and you, we don't got kids. We ain't worried about it.
No.
Have fun. Go ahead, walk your kids around. We're not answering the door.
No.
Anyway, Sunday, October 31st, 1971, the inaugural season of the Vet in a decade when the Eagles were absolutely horrible until Dick Vermeil came to town. We know what happened in the later part of that decade. They started to get good. Anyhow, 1971, they came into this game with a record of 1-5, and the Denver Broncos were coming to town. The Birds would get the scary 1-point win on Halloween, 17-16. What a game to be at. A Halloween 1 o'clock kickoff. The Birds did all their scoring in the first half. They led 17-7 at the half and then went on to almost blow it by letting the Broncos kick 3 field goals in the second half. But the difference, no doubt, was defensive back Bill Bradley with 2 picks, which were obviously crucial because either one of those picks doesn't happen. Another field goal, Birds lose 19-17.
Yeah.
And there you had Eagles quarterback Rick Arrington, who had how many career touchdown passes, Tech?
3.
3 career touchdown passes. One of them on this day, he was 7 of 17 for 129
He had
yards.
one more that entire season.
He won more that entire season. He took 6 sacks on the day. The Broncos' defense was just harassing this poor guy. But the Broncos were no better. Although their running back, Floyd Little, what a performance. 24 carries, $123 and a touchdown. Workmanlike. A young Harold Carmichael early in his career. 2 catches, 25 yards, ho-hum. But the Birds would get the win in a game they were actually 7-point underdogs. It was 64 degrees with a light 8-mile-per-hour wind. Eagles kicker Happy Feller gets the scoring going in the first quarter with a 27-yard chip shot as the Birds escape a scary Halloween day, 17-16 over the Broncos.
The Sixers, Prem. They've reached a new low, a low that I am just not familiar with.
And this is funny that a couple weeks ago I said with the over-under for games where Embiid, Maxey, and George play is like 48. I changed it to 52. Yeah. I should have stuck with 48.
Yeah.
Including the postseason where they all play a game. It might be 30 games.
Look, this organization is a flat-out disgrace. They are
horrible.
A straight-up
It's sad for the fans, man.
show.
It's really sad for our fan
it
base
is
because we're Sixer fans.
Absolutely.
If they were a good team, we'd be out. We'd be cheering them on right now. We'd be cheerleaders for them. But they're horrible.
They lose to a G League Raptors squad. It took OT and a Herculean effort from Maxey to beat an average Pacers team. Then they get blown out by not the NBA,
Herculean.
the worst team in the world. They got blown out by.
And who was on that team?
Yeah, Tobias
Harris. Unreal, bro.
Look, Nick Nurse, after these games, he can't even answer these questions. Daryl Morey and the
He's
organization.
getting rude like Doc was.
That's because they completely left him hanging out to dry.
Big time.
He can't even answer questions because he don't even know the answers.
I would resign if I was him.
I mean,
honestly.
It's what they're doing is a total joke. Look, they investigated the Embiid injury. They found out he was injured in the Olympics all along with what they call an unstable knee. It's still unstable. And Paul George, he's just a broken down player. He couldn't even get through a couple preseason games.
I tried to warn you.
Without being injured to the point where he's missing games that matter. They're all about this strategy for staying healthy for the playoffs, but it appears they've learned nothing from last season. Seeding actually matters.
Joel Embiid is not a championship player. I've said it time and again. I hate that I have to say that. I don't want to say this.
No.
I'm just calling it like I see it. You know, it's tough because I'm usually the optimist with these things, but the Sixers are, at best, exiting in the second round again.
Yeah.
I mean, at best.
At best.
It could be first-round exit.
It could be.
It really could be.
I think, there's these people, right, these box score watchers and these delusional
Right, that
people.
doesn't tell the whole story.
They think regular season games don't matter in any sport.
They do
just
matter.
Get to the playoff. Look,
you have to build cohesiveness.
There's 82 NBA games. 65 of these games actually do matter. They matter. Seeding matters. And look at the Phillies, right? Thompson took one too many scheduled losses in the second half.
Right.
And it cost them, by the time they got to that last week, they were cooked. And instead of going in as the number 1 seed and maybe, look, the point is we don't know.
No, because they handled the Dodgers this year.
Yes. So you don't know. If they would have got that 1 seed, it might have been a better situation.
You don't see the
them.
Mets if that happens.
Right. You had a situation where you went in ice cold, but you could have warmed up, but you ran into a buzzsaw against the hottest team at that time.
I put that also on the front office for leaving him with Taiwan Walker, who they're gonna re-rack it with Taiwan.
Yes, they
dude.
are. They're complete.
It makes me sick. You got to get Soto. You got to get
the Dodgers.
Soto.
You just watched a team buy themselves a World Series championship, and even though the Dodgers are 5th in payroll and the Phillies are 4th, what the Dodgers did with their money was way smarter than what the Phillies did. Because when I look at Harper, Castellanos, and Turner, I would much rather have Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts. Much rather have those 3.
Well, Harper, I got to stay with my guy Harper.
They bought those 3.
I got to stay with Harper, but Freeman's a better all-around ball player.
Yeah, I'm saying you can't cherry pick. It's either you're going to go with Harper, Castellanos, or Turner, or you're going to go with Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani. I'm going with Betts, Freeman, and
I hear
Ohtani.
you.
And the Dodgers just were wiser with their
Well,
money.
and the resurgence of Walker Buehler is a big part of this.
I get it.
Nobody
pitching
planned
matters.
on that because Buehler had taken a big step back.
And Aaron Judge had this historic, hitting season, and then gets in the playoffs and is.
Did the Yankees
He goes over.
They pulled their best Phillies impression I've ever seen.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Especially in Game 5.
Yes.
My goodness.
Very much reminded me
A
of
jaw
the
to the floor on that one, bro.
Yep.
When it's
I
5-0
know.
Yankees, I'm thinking, wow, they actually, if they can get this and just steal a Game 6 win, they have a chance to do this.
Yes.
And then I just watched that fielding performance and what
Rizzo is completely inept.
First base.
Completely inept.
That wasn't on Rizzo. That's on the
it's on
pitcher.
the pitcher too. Yeah,
but,
I get
But he
it.
didn't do much with the bat, Rizzo.
No, he's an
a shell
overrated
of
player.
himself. He
He's a
is.
shell of what he was.
Well, he did break both thumbs or something. He had finger injuries or something. I don't know.
get it. But I didn't mean to go on to the Phils.
You couldn't help it.
I couldn't help it because I see that they thought they had it in the bag. They figured, we're cool with the 2 seed after they got cooked in that last week. And they weren't thinking they were going to get cooked, but they were ice cold. But they played around with scheduled losses earlier on when they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have done it, and it cost them in the end. And the Sixers did the same thing last year. They ended up a play-in team.
Yeah.
It's like you can't play around for too many of these games. I get it. All right, first week of the season, fine. You want to lose to some of these games early and then go on your run when you get your guys. I hear that, but it's disgraceful. It's just disgraceful.
I feel bad for the fans. I really do. I mean, I don't even really have much to say because right now the product that they're putting on the field, it's like Maxey's expected to be Allen Iverson. It's really what they're trying to make this.
I know, and
he's just not him.
I think Maxey is. I think Maxey is a great player.
He's an above-average basketball player. He's a tier 3 star.
Yeah, that's right. See, here's the deal. The difference between Maxey and Iverson is Iverson made those layups.
He was a tier 1 star.
He made those layups.
Yeah.
Getting to the cup, everybody goes, oh, he's so fast. Yeah, well, he misses half those layups.
Right.
See, Iverson made those layups.
Yeah, well, Iverson he was a generational player. Maxey's a very good player.
Maxey's very good. He's better when he's got real players on the court. I'm watching this game with McCain and KJ Martin. It's you ain't beating nobody with those
guys are
guys
supposed
out.
to be, like you said, the best bench we've had in years.
Deep.
Now
They're deep
they got to
benchers.
be front men.
Yeah, I'm seeing him in the second quarter. Come on, man. This is just a joke.
Yeah.
The whole and by the way, I'm not even seeing great bench. I'm not seeing these guys that are on the bench. The Sixers are the worst team in the NBA in three-point shooting. They're one of the worst in shooting field goal percentages. They are a terrible shooting team.
Well, you got the Grizzlies tomorrow night, and I'll tell you what, it's probably another loss.
It's probably another loss.
I mean, they're just a better team across the board.
Yeah.
They dish the ball out they move the ball better than any team in the league except for one.
And the King, he grilled Nick Nurse about when is Embiid going to play, and that the fans, is it fair to the fans that are paying these tickets?
Nurse doesn't know.
And Nurse is just trying to BS his way through it and go, hey, listen, they're going to do 5-on-5 scrimmages. Friday is really going to tell me the story on how ready these guys are. Okay, well, that's fine. But what that tells me is, yeah, even if they're ready, they ain't playing Saturday.
No.
That's what it tells me. It's well, hopefully they'll be ready for in a couple games.
Well, then you got Monday in Phoenix, another loss.
Another loss. Yeah.
I mean, this is just a reality of
the
it.
losses are going to pile up.
Oh, and then wait, then they go right to play the Clippers, another loss.
It could be another loss.
Probably.
The Clippers have been losing games too, but
that's why it's another loss.
It's another loss, right? You're burying yourself early, and you're gonna have to dig out of this hole. And the fans, and I'm shocked as many sports writers as I'm seeing say, it doesn't matter. It's strategic. You need guys healthy for the playoffs. You need these guys.
It's delusional.
It's delusional.
It's like New York Giants delusional.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. So it is what it is. It's unprecedented. What we're seeing from the Sixers is a new low. We're seeing a disgraceful new low.
What did I say after the season last year? I said, if you move on from Embiid now, you have a chance to really get a high value for him.
Yeah.
His value is as high as it was ever going to be last year.
Ever. This is it.
They missed the boat.
They missed the boat. Now he's damaged goods.
He will never play 82 games. And
No.
Well, we'll know that. He'll never play
He's
70 games.
He's never going to play back-to-backs
He'll never
anymore.
play 70 games. And that really bothers me because when you look at all the great big men.
Going in, I thought if he plays 65 games, that's the aim. Let's get him to 65 games.
Right.
Because those 65 out of 82 matters.
Right.
It matters. So if he can play 65 games, that would be fantastic. He ain't going to play 65 games.
Let me
I don't
read
think
you
Paul
something.
George is either. Both of these guys are damaged
No,
goods.
they're done. So some of the greatest big men in history. Would you agree? I'm going to read you off some names. Hakeem, Shaq, Kareem.
These are everyday players.
The Admiral, Bill Russell.
Yep.
So, yeah, David Robinson, 8 seasons of 80-plus games, a
Yep.
14-year career. Hakeem, 8 seasons of 75-plus games,
Yep.
18-year career. Shaq, 7 seasons of 74-plus games, and he was often injured, 18-year career. Bill Russell, 11 seasons of 70-plus games, and that was in 13 years. And Kareem...
In the last few Shaq years, Shaq loafed it until they got to around playoffs.
He did, but he still played. And
did.
Kareem, 18 seasons of 75 games, and most of them were 80.
Yeah.
And he had horrible knee issues.
Yes, he
These
did.
guys were Iron Men. What are we seeing now?
Embiid is a weak,
It's
broken
horrible.
down player.
He can never be considered with the greats.
No, and Paul George, he couldn't even make it through 2 preseason games.
That's
He's
crazy.
a broken down
he's
player. He's
big time.
damaged goods.
He's played 200 games in the last 5 seasons.
Yeah,
Really?
I know. It's
Really?
This isn't.
It's bad.
Yeah,
There's nothing we can say. We're flabbergasted.
Exactly. That's the perfect word.
It's flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted. Totally baffled by this team to a point where I was optimistic.
I know you
and
were.
And now it's not optimism.
You were.
I
And you
watched.
finally become optimistic about something.
I took a shower and I watched that optimism just rain right off of me.
Rinse right off
and
of
go
you.
right down the drain.
Right down the drain.
That's what I watched. I watched it happen. It's unbelievable. It's over for me.
I'm
with
not
the Sixers.
surprised.
I'm out on
Well,
them
look,
already.
there's still 77 games, whatever it is left.
Yeah.
Maybe by game 60, they start to turn it around. By game 60, they'll be 20-40. Tech. I think no. Here you go. Here's a prediction: the Sixers, after 60 games, will be 29-31.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I put them around 500, whether it's a game or 2 back or a game or 2 up.
They're going to be floating around the 7-8 seed.
I got them around 500.
Yeah.
They're a default playoff team, and that ain't the move.
They'll get bounced in the first round if they're 7 seed.
If you're a default playoff team, you're going to get bounced in the first round. That's the way I see the
Absolutely.
Sixers. You can't just be a default playoff team. You have to be a top 3 seed.
They might get bounced in a play-in the way it's looking.
I can't.
Honestly.
I don't know.
Well, we have to see if Embiid is able to just suit up for 45 games.
I'm back on the Daryl Morey is a lunatic and a fraud bandwagon.
Yeah,
with
I kind of am
this whole
too.
thing.
I kind of am too. I was never really off that, but I was optimistic.
Me too. I agree with you. I was never fully off.
But I was
gave
optimistic.
I gave him his credit for what I thought was a really good offseason, one that made me optimistic. But I am back on this guy's a fraud.
Yeah,
and
forget
about this.
This era, the process era, you got to close the book on it.
Yeah, I know.
You really do.
I know.
You really do. Bring Sam Hinkie back.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
he'll go tanking again, though.
It's all over.
Unbelievable.
All right, let's get to Prem's picks. Need a better betting app? You need Rhythm.
Rhythm makes it easy to find AI-backed picks and player props for every single NFL, NBA, and game. You can build custom sports betting models or have AI build them for you and start getting recommended bets, score predictions, and more that will help you become a better bettor. Download Rhythm now and start getting free picks daily. Rhythm is the place for data-backed props and picks. RITHMM.
Rhythm is a proud partner of the Vet Alumni Podcast. Have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's time for Prem's Picks.
These games are a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your children's unborn children on these games.
Prem's NFL picks. Where are we? It's been so long, I don't even remember.
Well, after episode 145, I went 3-0 that week, Ted. The
Oh,
Steelers beat the Raiders that week. The
Yep.
Bengals beat the Giants, and the Ravens beat the Commanders. That was
oh
a good
yeah,
pick
that was a good
also.
one, yeah.
So I'm 10-5 overall, looking really strong.
There you go, you're looking strong.
Looking very strong. I got 3 more locks for you this week.
Locks!
So, the Ravens, we talked about what happened. What a goofy game in Cleveland. Jameis Winston, the resurgence of Jameis Winston. The Broncos have 5 wins. And the Broncos go to Baltimore to play a very pissed off Ravens team.
Yeah.
And I think the Ravens handle them easily.
Yep.
And win the game. And reportedly, they're going to get wide receiver Deontay Johnson from the Panthers as well.
Yep.
To help out with Lamar. And I think that that's a huge acquisition for them. They already have a good receiving core. Give me the Ravens at home to bounce back. Both of these teams are 5-3. Bo Nix has been okay for the Broncos.
He's been good. He's actually had a good year.
I don't care. Ravens get the home W.
Yep. Lock.
So, the Rams are an intriguing football team. They had an impressive showing last week. I actually, to see them win that game was unexpected.
I never thought they'd win that game.
No, nobody really thought that they would beat the Vikings. The Vikings have...
They are back down to earth. I don't believe in them. I never did. They're a fraud.
I never did either. But the Rams go...
And they beat nobodies. I mean, they
did beat nobodies.
They caught the 49ers when the 49ers were completely injured and depleted.
I know.
And they beat nobody.
So, another test for the Rams. They go to play division rival Seattle. It's always a good game.
That's a good game.
Rams and Seahawks. The Seahawks are a Jekyll and Hyde team. We don't really know what they're going to be. I mean, they're 4-4. They have some amazing, impressive wins, but they have some terrible losses. I mean, they got blown out by the Falcons by 20 points, Tech. They're hosting the Rams, and I think Matt Stafford, he looks rejuvenated. I think the Rams go in there and get the win in Seattle. That's a 4:25 kickoff on Fox. Going to be a good one. Give me the Rams in Seattle.
There it is.
Sunday afternoon.
Lock.
Last pick, another pissed off team, fresh off getting blown out by our birds, the Cincinnati Bengals, in an old school AFC matchup. The 3-win Bengals will play host to the 2-win Raiders. And the Raiders coming in, it's one of them like 70s, 80s AFC matchups, Bengals and Raiders.
Bengals are going to win this game.
They're going to win this game. Joe Burrow is going to have a good day. I know that these teams are very close in the standings when you look at those wild cards, the bottom of the wild card standings, 2 wins and 3 wins. But give me the Bengals at home, 1 o'clock kickoff. No doubt they did some soul searching after getting lambasted by Jalen and that defense on the other side of the ball. I like the Bengals to handle the Raiders in Cincy.
Lock.
So to recap, we got the Ravens over the Broncos in Baltimore.
Lock.
The Rams over the Seahawks in Seattle.
Lock.
And the Bengals over the Raiders in Cincinnati.
Lock.
This has been another edition of Prem's NFL Picks.
We'll make sure to log those in. We will not be here next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks.
We will, to talk about hopefully 2 birds wins.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we need.
We do.
We need
We
that
do.
to happen. All right, go Birds.
Vet Alumni.